ones and twos. And I just come here to let y'all know it's about to get real filthy in this motherfucker.
That's funny. I guess I just feel like I'm at work still.
Right, exactly. It does feel like very professional in here right now.
It does.
All right, we are recording. Thank you all for tuning in to episode 29 of In Todd We Trust. You can access the podcast on itwtpodcast.com for spoiler-free, one-sentence reviews and movie ratings, episode descriptions, song of the week playlist, movie soundtrack playlist, and a submission form to be a guest on the show. Only the most special people make it up on here to be a guest, so I cannot guarantee that you get a spot. You can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and also watch on YouTube. The YouTube video goes up a few days after we release the audio. Today, we have my good friend Becca on the podcast today. I know we caught up a little bit before, but how is life?
It's good, Todd. It's been a while since I've seen you.
I know, right? Wait, when was it? When was the last time?
It was probably last summer when Julie was home and we went to that food truck place.
Yes.
And I don't even know.
In Ferndale.
Ferndale, yeah.
Yeah, the food truck place was a tad disappointing.
It was a little disappointing.
The company did not disappoint though. It was good to catch up. Wait, when was that? That was
I think it was like
summer?
last August because Julie goes
goodness.
to school in Massachusetts, so she's not home very often, and she was home for like a month in August.
I can't believe it was that long ago. That is insane.
I know. It's crazy.
Wow, time goes by fast. So I went to EL this past weekend. Drove past your old house, and I thought about you all. When's the last time you've been back?
I actually didn't even make it back for a football game this year. It was kind of a busy fall.
Yeah.
And the only one I would have went to was probably Michigan State.
Yeah.
But my family was in Saugatuck, so we didn't make it there. And I did go a few weeks ago for my cousin's graduation, though.
So
beginning of May. Yeah, I've been back.
Have you seen that freaking skyscraper like apartment building they're building on the river with the Target and?
It doesn't seem like
it doesn't even look right, does it?
No, I don't like it.
It's insane. It's insane. Like it made me feel like I didn't even know my own school.
I know.
That's what it feels like. Like I'm gonna feel really bad when I hear people saying, "Yo, you know that one place or this place," and I'm like, "That wasn't there when I was like, I don't want to be that guy."
I already feel that way about some things, and I don't know. There's just a lot of construction. Even when I went up there, I'm like, I don't even know which roads to go down and how to get places because everything's closed and there's like a lot of orange barrels.
It's
just
terrible.
like everything else in Michigan.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I feel like I need to. Well, when those do go up, well, first of all, the apartments look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it doesn't necessarily fit the aesthetic of the street.
Right.
I will likely move back there into one of those apartments and just commute to Detroit each day because those just, I want to say I lived in there.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Oh, wait, those weren't up when you were in school." I was like, no, I moved back as an adult.
I can't imagine that they're like student prices. Like, I don't know how any students could afford that, but I mean, if they're not footing the bill, then I guess they don't really care.
That's true. And you know, I feel like they find a way with real estate on college campuses, especially MSU, where they like get the bare bones as far as an apartment and then charge like a crazy amount.
Right.
Or you have like four people staying in an apartment that's not a large like square foot.
Yeah.
And you know, they just jack up the prices. And when you look at it, once you combine like everyone's rent, even if it's a place that seems cheap, like I remember I found a place that was like out past Chandler Crossings.
Yeah.
And it was like under $500 per month. And we're like, oh, pretty affordable comparing like, to some other options. And then we start we're like, yeah, we have our own rooms, bathroom and everything like that. And we start adding it up and we're like, wait, we're paying like $2,000 plus. That's a mortgage. Like we could have a full home with a 5-bedroom and like way more square footage.
Oh yeah.
So it's funny once you actually start doing the math, how you're getting scammed a bit.
It's very scary. I don't want to think about all the rent that I pay.
No, exactly. Gosh.
On top of any other bills that I pay.
And parking tickets.
Oh
My gosh, I paid a whole other year's worth of tuition with parking tickets.
There's a couple I tried to fight and I never won, so I was like, you know what, I should just pay them.
I never even tried to fight. I just tried to run away from them. I never tried to fight them.
Yeah.
So song of the week. What do you got for me?
So I have been listening to Never Really Over by Katy this week, and it came out like last week.
Yes.
So I usually burn out songs. Like I will listen to them on repeat until like it's annoying to me, and then I'll forget about them like they ever existed. So this will last a few more days.
Yes. I'm so glad that you just said that because It's actually next on my playlist from my song of the week.
Okay.
Right next on the playlist is the Katy Perry song. I'm a huge Katy Perry fan. For listeners who don't know that already about me, I get a lot of flack for it.
Yeah.
Because of her antics sometimes, and I don't know what she's doing with her hair sometimes, and
Right.
I don't know. I don't care because I'm a huge fan. I'm a diehard. I'm gonna rock with Katy no matter what. So
that's good.
my song of the week is "D.R.E.A.M" by Miley Cyrus. AKA drugs rule everything around me. I am not into drugs, but the song is dope, the beat is dope. Also featuring Ghostface from Wu-Tang. So it's from her new EP, She Is Coming. And another jam on there, Party Up the Street with Sway Lee. Definitely a summer jam. Has a good bop to it. But yeah, overall, not a bad EP, but that Dream is definitely top of the list for me.
I'll have to listen to it. I have to check it out.
You gotta check it out. It's as soon as you get in the car, it's definitely you'll probably play it on repeat all the way home.
Okay, so. Then I'll have to take your word for it.
All right, we have random rapid fire questions. You can't cheat. You can't look at the notes.
All right.
You ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. What would your stage name be if you were an artist?
I don't know. It'd probably have to be Becky something
That is
because
true.
it just feels like a name that fits. My friends call me Becky whenever they want to laugh.
Yeah. What instrument do you wish you were really good at?
I think it'd be cool to be good at the piano.
Yeah, no, I agree. Would you rather your bio be a movie, a musical, or a documentary?
Probably a movie.
What artist would you be most excited to do a meet and greet with?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Oh no, come on, Becca.
Old Taylor Swift, during her Red album was the best Taylor Swift there ever was, and if I could go back to that, I would still really be excited.
You know what? I do like some songs regrettably on that album. I was actually just telling someone earlier today that if someone would ask me if I like Taylor Swift, I'd say no, I don't really like Taylor Swift. I was looking at going through my library the other day, and I was like, man, I have 25 Taylor Swift songs on my phone.
She's got some good ones.
She has some hits, and you kind of forget, they kind of start to add up on the phone, and I'm like, oh wait, I guess I do like Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she has a lot of different moods. Kind of, if you want to be sad, you can listen to some sad Taylor Swift from the old stuff or the new stuff.
She has some hits.
A little, not my favorite, but
not
still
for
okay.
you. Yeah. What is your go-to song to sing in the shower?
I don't even sing in the shower because I have such a bad voice. I can't even sing in the shower. My
Really?
dog would probably start crying. Yeah.
I have no shame to bust out singing in the shower.
What's your favorite song to sing in the shower?
Wow, that's a good question.
Rapid fire is hard because you're just unprepared for it.
Yeah, I know. Rapid fire is tough. Go-to song to sing in the shower. I've really been feeling like singing some Frank Ocean recently.
Okay.
Definitely good. Daniel Caesar. I was singing some Daniel Caesar recently in the shower. I like to go towards artists that I feel like are in my vocal range. I'm not saying I sound like them, but in my range. So that way I sound better with the acoustics.
I hear that you might be doing some American Idol
stuff? Not might. Yeah, it's happening. I'll after we go through this rapid fire, I will disclose details.
Right.
Have you ever recorded yourself singing?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. All right.
There might be an old Snapchat video of me singing, but it was not recorded by me.
I was about
to
say
from someone else laughing at me.
Don't lie, Becca. We're gonna check on YouTube after this to see if you did some covers.
I didn't do anything. I know that for sure.
I know. You would like a guitar. I can picture you. I like doing a cover.
No, I don't think so.
What is the last thing you watched on Netflix?
There's that movie. One of my friends recommended it. I don't even know what it's called. I know what my next movie will be, 8th grade or something.
Oh, yeah.
I heard one of my friends said, you have to watch that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
I gotta watch that too. I wanted to watch it. I wanted to go to the theater to see it, but then I just didn't get a chance. But I do want to check that out. I think it's on either HBO or maybe Amazon Prime Video right now.
Okay.
So yeah, I do want to check that out.
I think it is Amazon Prime because my friend said it was on Netflix, and then somebody's like, it's not on Netflix. She's like, I just watched it. She's like,
okay, so it's Amazon Prime. Yeah, they Amazon usually picks up a lot of those indie movies when they come out, and they actually produce a good portion of them that you wouldn't expect them to be behind. Best play you've ever gone to?
I went to see Hamilton this year. And
Oh,
I
really?
really liked that, and I feel like any play, like it's most recently in my memory, so it's
Yeah.
really good, and I really liked it. Yeah.
I mean, it's super popular, so I'm sure that's a lot of people's answers. So fun fact about me and Hamilton is, I don't know, but for whatever reason, up until like maybe a year and a half ago, I thought that Hamilton was a hip hop version of Hamlet.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where I got that from. I don't know why that was the case.
I'm sure that's easily confused. I'm sure there was a lot of people out there with you.
I hope so. Because whenever I say it to people, they like laugh and they they poke fun. But I'm like, hey, it's probably a lot of people out there like me who thought it was a hip hop version of Hamlet. So I'm gonna stand by that.
The worst thing about when I went was that the person next to me was singing the songs along. I was like, this is not a concert. Like, you could not sing and hum the songs.
Gosh. Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot like the people who I know have seen it, like memorized the soundtrack prior to going to see it, and I was like, that's just obnoxious. Come on, like just go see the I don't know, just go see it first. But yeah, for me, honestly, a hip hop version of Hamlet might have been better. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna tell them what to write. I'm not a playwright, but
you should give it a chance.
Yeah,
it was in East Lansing recently. I don't know if it's still running there, but it was at the Wharton Center.
Yeah, it was there 3 weeks ago, I think. But yeah, I don't know. That ticket price is tough for me.
Yeah,
You know,
it is steep.
People decide what they like to pay for, like what's worth money. For me, like I'd buy a pair of shoes, maybe, or a couple with that money that I used to spend, buy the ticket. So that's my advice. I do like plays though. What's your go-to slushy flavor?
I would have to say probably watermelon.
Watermelon. Ooh, I was saying this last week. Every week is different. Isn't that great? Like, because I was just thinking blue or red, like, blue raspberry or cherry. Like, those are the two that you always see. Mm-hmm. Every week has been a different answer. So.
What's your answer for that?
I like to do a little swirl action. I like to do the mix up. Yeah, the blue and red. I was on the Mountain Dew kick for a while growing up.
Oh, okay.
Growing up, I was on the best slushy I've ever had. 7-Eleven had a Sour Patch Kids one, like this red sour. Amazing.
Right.
Amazing. Please bring that back, 7-Eleven. We need that. I need that. If you had to rewatch the same movie for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, that's kind of hard. I feel like the popular answer on this podcast would be The Lion King.
Yeah.
I think everyone said that. I don't know. I think that I would have to say, like, I really like the movie Crazy Stupid Love, so that would probably be
solid movie.
I feel like I've already watched it a lot of times, so I would just continue watching it.
Yeah, just stick with it for the rest of your life. Not a bad one. I love Steve Carell, so any Steve Carell thing I could watch forever. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I went to the theater. So when I went to the theater, before we get started with this, to see this last night, and I feel like as I was sitting in there, and I actually saw a preview for Lion King, which made me think about what I'm about to say. Whether I'm going to go see it opening night or if I'm going to give it a day or two. I'll actually be in Cali for my sister's wedding.
Okay.
So it comes out, her wedding is on that Friday that it comes out, but technically movies come out like that Thursday night.
Right.
So I'm like, do I go Thursday night or do I wait till like Saturday morning or something like that? And I have this conflict a lot with movies that I'm really excited for is, do I go see it opening night because I'm pumped, and deal with possible distraction in the theater of like people who are just inconsiderate and talk and cheer and make comments about the movie, or just loud talkers, or do I wait and it's like, man, I'll build all this anticipation up, now I have to wait and then go see it late, so that I can have it in like isolation. So that's always my dilemma, and I mentioned this on I think the last podcast of how I'm trying to I might have to get a group together just to buy a theater.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a worthwhile investment for me.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of hard because just with it being The Lion King, I think like so many adults and kids will be interested in it.
Yeah.
Like even if you decide to go on like a Saturday morning, like that might be the popular time to like bring the family out
very good.
for it.
That's a very good point. So I gotta find a time. I think that it's going to be one of those movies that no matter when you go that weekend, you're not going to find a good time, but hopefully I go with some considerate people.
Yeah. That's probably the key.
Yeah. So, like you mentioned before, recently announced, as of yesterday actually, that I will be auditioning for American Idol coming up.
That's really exciting.
So
I didn't know you were a singer either.
So that's been probably the biggest response when I posted it is, and by the way, the audition's September 10th in Detroit. I also have to do an audition video, so maybe you'll see that on YouTube. Maybe I'll be the one with the guitar. I can't play guitar, but I can't sing either, so it doesn't really matter. But yes, I cannot sing. But I have a lot of heart and soul behind it, a lot of feeling behind it. So the way I described it on my Instagram is that the way that I compose the notes that come out of my mouth, I definitely consider myself an artist. And a one-of-a-kind artist at that. But I don't know if singing is the way a singer would be the way I describe myself. But I don't think that excludes me from the competition. I still think I have a real fighting chance. So I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to go audition. And I likely think I think I'll make it through. I think I have a good chance. I've seen some of the talent that's going on the show, and not to put anyone down. Definitely don't want to do that, but I definitely think that I feel confident in my abilities.
Well, that's good. Confidence is probably the key. And I heard maybe from the post that you made that you're taking song suggestions. Are you going to open that up? Like maybe you could have
absolutely opening
people
that.
Listening to the podcast might want to.
That's a very good point. I think
give you some suggestions of what they think that you could rock.
That's a really good point. Yes, I am definitely open to suggestions. Like I mentioned before. Like my in the shower songs recently have consisted of Frank Ocean, Daniel Caesar. Again, I feel like I'm in kind of that range, but don't get it twisted. I can definitely hit those like Mariah, Whitney type of notes as well. So don't feel bashful when you're giving me suggestions. Okay. I can make it work. I can adjust. Again, I can adjust my voice as an artist. So yeah, if you have suggestions, Becca, we'd love to hear them. Think on it.
Think on it. And I'm sure other people will give you ideas too that you haven't even thought of.
Please do, yes. Please, I've gotten a few interesting ones thus far, but please keep them coming. I couldn't do it without my fans, so appreciate that. So with some background on the movie, Rocketman, the way it's described on IMDb is a musical fantasy about the fantastical human story of Elton John's breakthrough years. That is a very good description. If you've seen the movie, that is very accurate.
A good description.
Released on May 31st. Notable cast, just Taron Egerton, I hope I'm saying that correctly, who is playing Elton. He's the only real really big name actor in it. I know him from Kingsman.
I didn't know him from anything. So
really, yeah.
You're ahead of me there.
Yeah, I mean, when I say big actor, I'm not saying A-lister, but he just is recognizable for me. Director was Dexter Fletcher, who also did Eddie the Eagle, and then the screenplay was done by Lee Hall, who also did a new adaptation of Cats and Warhorse, which is a play, which that makes complete sense based on how this movie was laid out. That they tapped on someone who had previously done plays before as a background in plays to do this movie, so that doesn't surprise me. Runtime is 2 hours and 1 minute for this movie. Before I get into it, Becca, did you have any initial thoughts that you want to start with or get off your chest?
I think it was just a lot different than I expected.
Yeah.
It was definitely wild. There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was going to cover such a short period of time in his life. Like, I guess I don't really know how long a period of time it covered. I know it was multiple albums and everything, but it just seemed like it was a lot crunched into 2 hours, but it wasn't even his whole life, so you didn't even get to see like later things going on. Yeah,
I'm gonna definitely touch on that in a little bit here, but I agree. I didn't necessarily know what to expect. I didn't know a ton about Elton John going into the movie. I did that intentionally too. Obviously, I could have done some research before, but same thing with Bohemian Rhapsody. Obviously, I know who Freddie Mercury, and I know the band Queen. I'm familiar. Obviously, anyone is. You've heard of Queen. You've heard Queen's songs. Same thing with Elton John. You know who Elton John is. You've heard some of his songs, but you might not know a lot about his backstory.
Right.
His life, his career, personal life, all that stuff. So I did that intentionally because I feel like you're looking at it through a different lens as a fan, and as someone who already knows the information. Than someone, I kind of want to see it from how is it just as a movie? Like if I didn't know anything, I'm just watching a movie. How did they lay it out? For me.
Right.
So also something I thought about. It kind of going on the same thought of my song of the week. Drugs rule everything around me. It touched on his addiction. The movie is told basically from the vantage point of Elton in the early 90s when he checked himself into rehab.
Right.
And then going back and, recounting, his life essentially in his career. So
it was like an AA or NA meeting that he's basically telling it from the point of.
Exactly. So it made me think, obviously I'm a pretty healthy person. I try to be, try to stay active. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, anything like that. If that's your prerogative, no judgment. But I thought about this video of Mick Jagger I saw recently of him like dancing and getting ready for a performance. And Mick Jagger's 75 years old and has done probably every drug known to man multiple times. And I'm like, maybe drugs are the answer. I don't know. Maybe
he
I'm doing
wasn't
it
holding
wrong.
back at all.
He wasn't
still
holding
able to do
back.
everything he wants.
There's a lot of healthy people out here not making it to 75. So maybe I don't know. I'm not telling you to do drugs, kids, but definitely don't write it off. Yeah, don't write it off. Yeah, it could be the luck of the draw. That's likely
he
what
might
it
have
is.
just had a little luck.
Yeah.
Or some good doctors, some good medical insurance.
Or some good drugs. Maybe the right cocktail of drugs. I don't know.
Maybe.
So stay in school, kids. Don't do drugs or do drugs. I don't know. I wasn't expecting a musical with this. But I like musicals. I do enjoy musicals. I didn't know that this was going to be I wouldn't call it a musical,
right.
But it had aspects of a musical.
I felt like it was very musical-ish.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they would just burst out. Like it was like a Broadway type thing. I kind of felt like you could have just watched it as like a play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how I felt about that, but that's okay.
It was. So I think with musicals, you don't have to necessarily say we're about to sing and they bust in the song,
right.
But it felt weirdly placed. It would be at really random times when they'd bust in the song and it wasn't consistent. It's not like every scene like this broken into acts, like a play, and then we're getting a song. Like at the top of the act, we're getting a song at the middle. It's usually structured a certain way. This was almost there's story, song, boom, song, crazy. Now it's switching gears.
Right.
Now he's, it's wait, what are we doing? Now he's 8 years old, now he's 15. And it's it's kind of jumping all over the place.
And they had other characters singing his songs with him, which I could maybe see for some of the things, but I don't know, I know in one part the whole family was singing, his mom, his dad, and his grandma, and I was I don't know, maybe we should just have him sing.
Yeah.
That I just felt like it was getting a lot of musical type things from a lot of people. It wasn't just I don't think everyone in Elton John's family was musical.
No,
so I think they kind of played that up just for to make it more entertaining.
Yeah, for the movie. Yeah, and I agree. I don't know about that. I wasn't a huge fan of that part. They showed him. I didn't know that he was a child prodigy. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. That most people of that magnitude, as far as that type of talent and artist, typically have been doing some type of singing, playing an instrument, something that stood out very early on in their life. It's not like they got to 25 and it's oh shoot, I can sing. No, they probably had signs of it as a kid, so it didn't surprise me. Did you ever stumble upon any hidden talents as a kid? Were you really good at anything as a kid?
No, I don't think so.
No?
My brother and sister used to take piano lessons, but I'm kind of significantly younger than them, so the piano teacher would just kind of give me lessons on the side. I was nothing special, so it was nothing to brag about. No, I just played sports and I was fine at them. I wasn't a superstar or anything. I could hold my own on the field or on the court or whatever, but no, no talents that they're we need to exploit this and you can make a career out of it. No, that didn't happen.
You could have been on the I.M team if I would have met you. It's crazy that we met, what was it after? Was it the summer after graduation?
Yeah,
that's
it
when
was.
we met, yeah. I wish I would have met you and Julie before, but...
I know, it was probably a missed opportunity.
I know. You could have been on the I.M teams. We lost a lot of games, but we had a lot of fun. It's the most fun you'll ever have losing was on my I.M team. That's the top our net guarantee.
Okay.
So, yeah, you definitely had a lot of fun.
That's a good guarantee.
Yeah, right? I wasn't a child prodigy. I used to tell my mom all the time. I tell her now still, too, as an adult, which is kind of an inside joke in our family, but that she should have got me tested for giftedness. Because I told her all the time when I was a kid, Mom, I'm a genius. I don't know why you haven't gotten me tested. So I would tell her, like elementary school and all the way like up till now, like I'd be like, Ma, like
I still want to get tested.
yeah, like Ma, like you should. What are you doing? Like I was in class with all these like regular kids. I was a genius.
Oh, that's fun.
So she'll like whenever I do something that's not genius worthy, they'll mess with me and be like, you know,
this is why it's not why we never pursued it.
Exactly. So I still stand by it, but again, I never had anything. I wasn't like a child prodigy at anything. But as I'm watching this, I was like, you know, when he went in there and he was like auditioning, and obviously his teacher realized like, okay, he's special, and she still like corrected him on some things that he could change, like kind of like humbling him a bit.
I was gonna say she had to keep him humble.
Honestly, I wouldn't. You know, it is probably a good thing. Like God probably did it on purpose to not like give me too much talent in certain areas because I would have been so incredibly arrogant. Like, I mean,
you would have had a little bit of an ego.
Oh my goodness, it would have been so bad. Like, there's no way that I would take instruction from someone who I knew was better than me. Like, I'd be like, shut up. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't touch me. Do you know who I am? Like, I would be ridiculous. I'd be like 5 years old. Like, knowing if I knew how to play like hot cross buns, like I'd be like, yeah, like suck it. Like, don't, yeah.
And especially as a kid, like kids don't understand. Like, okay, even if you're better at something, like you can still take instruction from other people, but like no, they just want to be in charge because they're the best.
I would definitely. I mean, I was always as a kid, and even now to this day, I'm the type where I'll question everything in a respectful way. Like I wasn't the kid that like, you know, my parents wouldn't let me be the type of person where it's like an adult says something and I'm like, well, why? Like not like in that way, but in a respectful way, I would like inquire, like if we're doing something or giving me instruction, and I don't necessarily see the purpose, the point in it. I would act like, hey, like what are we doing this for? Like what is this? And that's just, and still to this day I'm like that. So I would have a really hard time if I felt like the person giving me instruction didn't know as much as me. Yeah, would be rough. So it's a good thing that Elton was a humble kid. Would being famous, I was wondering this too as we're watching, and he's not the first famous person to have a rough upbringing, but would being famous be worth having a rough childhood?
I don't think so. I don't think I would ever want to be famous. I just think it's too much spotlight. I would prefer to lay low. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. There's so many people that have a really rough start to life, and like no matter how much money or fame or anything that you have, like I don't think it can really help you fully recover. Like you still have to like address your issues head on. Right. So maybe they would have more resources towards doing it, but they also have access to like a lot of other things. So like, I mean, it seems like they said amongst all his other issues, like he really likes to shop, and he still likes to shop, and like okay, like that might not be as destructive as like drug use and stuff, like you're not gonna overdose from that, but I mean, yeah, you don't want to go broke because you're trying to like find material things to make you feel better. That's true. Yeah, I was watching and I'm just like, wow, like there's so many people who probably wish they were Elton John, right? And I'm looking, I'm like, I wouldn't trade it. Like I wouldn't trade my family. I wouldn't trade like how great of a childhood I had, and like, you know, the times I had, the memories I had to be famous or to be that talented in that area. It just wouldn't be worth it. You know, you look at him like a Michael Jackson or something like it's not worth it. Like yeah, you might have all these accolades, money, you know, power, respect, all that, and it's just like, it's not worth it. And I'm kind of with you on the fame thing. You know, obviously sometimes you look at it, you're like, man, that'd be like really cool to be a superstar, but I'd rather be like one of those like really rich guys that no one knows. Yeah. Like, you know, if you look like the top, like if you go on Forbes right now, like the 10th richest person, you probably never even like, if you've heard of them, you wouldn't be able to pick them out of a crowd. Like if he just was walking on. They just want to be low key. Yeah, if they, like, you know, a lot of them just look like, you know, regular old guys. Like they had like if Bill Gates right now, like I know what he looks like. Yeah. I've seen pictures of him. If Bill Gates was walking in Walmart with like a ball cap on, you just assume it's not him. Like you just be like, you know, that guy looks like Bill Gates. Yeah, like it's not him. Yeah, you would just pass it off. Like he can easily go to like the movie theater here and be fine. Like LeBron James can't do that. No. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's really cool. It'd be really cool to be like LeBron, but at the same time, it's kind of tough. You can't live a regular life. Exactly. The storytelling was interesting, and we talked about this with the musical aspect of it. But it almost felt like I couldn't tell if they were assuming that we knew Elton John's story, like if they assumed like the viewers would all be like somewhat familiar. Right. Because it felt like again that there were like details missed and, you know, dates missed and things like that. They were jumping around a lot. So I'm like, either they're expecting that we already know, or they're just trying to condense the movie as much as possible. Right. Yeah, you couldn't tell if they were skimming over things or if they yeah, I thought that you came in with some background.
Yeah, I don't know, and I still don't know. I did read something. It was an interesting fact that that for the movie they kind of jumbled up fact and fiction to make it more enjoyable,
right.
More entertaining. So there were parts where he like performed a song, and it was like the song he performed for the record label, and like he in real life he didn't write the song until 2-3 years later.
Yeah.
Like it was a lot of parts like that.
And I think even when like obviously Elton John isn't his real name, and when he like picked his name, it sounded like Elton came from someone that he was in a band with or something.
Yeah.
And then when he was in the record label office, he like looked at a picture of John Lennon and was like John. But yeah, that I heard that wasn't very accurate.
That was also in the article how that was inaccurate. That's not actually how he got it. It actually said how he got it, but I don't remember right off. But point being is that they kind of juiced that up, which I feel like it's not necessary for the movie. Also, I think part of it too was, which I thought they did kind of well, considering that he was in a mental health facility, right? So he was telling it from that vantage point. So naturally, at that point, with the drug use, his memories will be jumbled up like that.
Right.
So I think part of that was entertainment for the movie factor, but then also in reality, if you're going back, if you're sitting in the 90s recounting stuff that happened the last 30-40 years, and 2 decades of that was you heavily using drugs and alcohol, like you don't 1971 and 1973 probably aren't that different to you.
Yeah, I think everything kind of goes together. Like I feel like even just thinking about college and stuff, like, it was nothing super crazy where I like shouldn't remember certain parts of it, but I'm like, wait, like was that the first year I was in college or was it later on?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know, like sporting events and stuff. We're like, I know we did pretty well when I was there, but you're like, what year did this happen or whatever? It's kind of like you gotta pick through it.
Exactly. No, that's a very good example. Yeah, even for us, like we're only 3 years out, so we're 3 years out, and we're world superstars. And heavily using drugs. So with that being said, like you said, again, if you're in the 90s trying to recount something that happened in the 70s, that's tough. So I think that was kind of played in there a little bit. I don't know how intentional that was. I might be giving them more credit than they deserve for that. But I think they definitely could have done a better job as far as storytelling, keeping the audience engaged. It was a lot of like downtime and as like fantastical and fictional and all the animation and like out of body experience and like parts in the movie where they're like floating in air and just all this stuff, effects like that. It was points where they were doing that and it was still like boring. Like it was weird. It was like very much like
when's this scene gonna be over? When are we gonna move on to something? Like is something gonna happen?
Exactly. That's kind of how I felt at a point. I feel like biopic movies should focus on like a specific event, especially I'll say this, for biopic movies where it's the entire person's life is like worth recounting, which obviously if you're doing a biopic, it probably is. They've probably done more than just like one thing.
Right.
Focus on like one part of their career. Like don't for instance, Bohemian Rhapsody. Even though they kind of you haven't seen it.
So no, I don't really have anything
I won't spoil it. But I won't spoil it for you. But I mean, in the description it says like it's leading up to and it's also a biopic, so it's not really much I can spoil. But it's showing Freddie Mercury and Queen up until Live Aid, the concert Live Aid. So it's leading up to that point, starting with Freddie as like right when he got hooked up with Queen, and they kind of assembled a band. With that, it's a clear focus. We're showing from when they started to Live Aid.
Right.
So
starting and end.
Yeah, and again, it felt rushed, and obviously there was points in there where it's like they put in points that like weren't accurate, and they changed it up a bit. But it felt cohesive.
Yeah.
This didn't feel, and I'm comparing to that obviously because it just recently came out, and similar like artists in terms of magnitude. And biopic films, but similar genres as well. So I think honestly, a lot of people probably won't agree with me, but I think they could have just focused on him creating some of the songs for Lion King. Like let's just see him in the studio, like creating, like he did Circle of Life. So I looked at, I was like, what did he actually write from on there? Circle of Life, I Just Want to Be King, or just can't wait to be king. Sorry, Hakuna Matata. Can you feel the love tonight and be prepared? So all hits. I mean, I would watch 2 hours of Elton John just in the studio making these.
Yeah.
Like that would be enough for me. And it's probably on like the bonus features of like a DVD or something like that. But I'm fine with that. We can do that. Like I said, I couldn't connect the same as Bohemian Rhapsody, and I don't want to just keep comparing to that, but it's a good reference. It didn't feel, it felt rushed. You know what I mean? It didn't feel cohesive. This one didn't. I don't think it should have released so close to Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know if that was, they were aware or if that was planned.
Right. These things take time, so you would think that they would have thought it out a little bit.
Yeah, like we don't want them back to back, and obviously they're different artists.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're done by the same studio. I have to double check that, but
it turns into a comparison.
It turns into exactly. So you're in danger of doing that. So then it's just like you better be the better one,
right?
Or the first one of the two. If you're that, So and for this, to me, it was not as good as Bohemian, and it came after. So
right. Well, and I know it could be a little bit different. I mean, Freddie Mercury is obviously not alive anymore, and
right.
Elton John is, so I wonder if he had a little bit more say, obviously, like what was portrayed in this.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's always interesting because a lot of things happen after people have died, so if something does come out while they're still alive, like you wonder if that's how it would have been later on.
That's a good point. I think that, I know he did have some say in this movie, like I don't think he was sitting over their shoulders, but they definitely consulted him for some of the stuff. Like for instance, what is his name? The actor who played Elton in this, I already forgot his name, I have it written down. Elton wanted his voice to be the voice in this movie. Like they didn't want to.
I heard that. He said, like, don't try to sound like me. Kind of like find your own thing. My mom said, she's like, I thought it was really distracting that he didn't sound like Elton John at all. And I was like, well, I guess that's what they're going for. But I mean, I can see if you're going to see an Elton John movie, like you kind of want it to be realistic towards what he is.
I wanted to hear Elton John. It just that didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the artist's feedback.
Yeah, like obviously
failed him.
His opinion was not the right one.
No,
but he got to have his opinion, and then they did it how he wanted it.
And I wasn't a fan of that. I wanted to hear his. And again, if he had already passed, there's no way they do that because there'd be
right.
an uproar. Like people would be like, no, we want to hear Elton, right? But since Elton said it, it's like, okay, I guess you respected his wishes, but like, so that I know he gave him a lot of creative liberties as far as the way the film was written and kind of how the flow of it, like he wanted it to be like reflected that way.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a huge fan of the creative liberties that they took, but again, that was his input. They got more intense with the sex scenes in this one than they did in Bohemian Rhapsody, and to me, I feel like any type of actions that like make a movie rating higher as far as like taking it from like G to PG to PG-13, so on and so forth. If it doesn't help the story, then it's no point in it.
Right.
Like a sex scene, it didn't like when it was like really in depth or whatever, and they wouldn't just like cut to the next scene. I'd be like, what is this adding?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't add anything to the movie. So
just felt like some things were long.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, I don't know if that's necessary, and I don't, obviously that's not the only thing. Of course, the drug use is obviously going to take the rating up as well, but they could have done it in a way, and I say that because if you're going to make it R, then make it a reason for it to be R or PG-13 in this case.
Was this PG-13?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was PG-13.
I don't even pay attention because I'm not like at the age where I can't go see any movie.
Right, exactly. I'm pretty sure.
And I'm not trying to bring like younger kids. Like,
right.
This is appropriate.
Yeah, let's go see Rocketman.
I just don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's PG-13, but my thought is like obviously make it like if you can make a movie the lowest rating you can to get the widest audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So especially a movie like this where it's a super popular artist. Is me, people are gonna want to go see it. Parents are gonna want us to go see it. If they can take their kids, they'll go see. Bring them as well. So, they were taking a lot of time building his stardom up. So, I mean, the first hour and 15 minutes, in a 2-hour movie, is him not even really being Elton John yet. Like he's still very much like hasn't got his big break yet. And I'm like, yo, come on. Like, the majority of the movie is not even going to be him as a star. Like, that's what we want to see.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? They could have spent less time, again, talking about how they, like, some parts were just too long.
Right.
They didn't have to spend as much time on him being a kid or him being, like, the struggling artist. Like, get to him being a star.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't really have much more to say about it.
Yeah. His marriage. Like,
that was so quick. I almost forgot that he was married because it was like, it only took like 2 minutes and then it was like,
literally.
oh, you're divorced.
Yeah, it was like, and I understand their marriage was only 3 years, but I mean, it was almost like, why even bring it up the movie? Like, that, if you're gonna skip past something, skip past that. Because I mean, we're not exaggerating. I have written down 3 minutes. We're not exaggerating. He, from the time he got married to when they showed him getting a divorce, was, I mean, go back. I want to almost go back and time it. It was under 3 minutes
very
in the movie. It was so weird. It was like, what are we doing? So again, with it just being like, who's editing this film? Like, I don't know. They're like, I can't believe that made the cut. And they weren't just like, hey, let's just scrap that because it doesn't flow.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that's just to really emphasize how short his marriage was. I don't know.
It's possible. You're giving them a lot of credit again.
Again, I'm giving them a ton of credit.
Benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. They don't deserve this. The music, I've always gotten Tiny Dancer and Rocketman mixed up ever since I was a kid. I don't know why, like those two, like they're the same song to me. But they're both good songs. Tiny Dancer is better, in my opinion. But I know if I were the one who wrote or performed, I guess in this case because he didn't write his stuff, but Benny and the Jets in Tiny Dancer. Yeah. I'm retiring. Like, I would be the type, like, have you ever seen Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell?
I haven't, but I, like, can picture it in my head. I feel like I've, like, seen cover.
Like, memes and covers.
Yeah.
In the movie, he's the player coach of this semi-pro basketball team. But prior to that, he was an artist, and he had one hit. He had one song called "Love Me Sexy," and he just like was resting on his laurels from that song for like ever. Like, he'd go somewhere and be like, "Yo, like I wrote Love Me Sexy," right? Right. So just off that fame, that's how it would be. Like, doesn't matter. Tiny Dancer came out 71, 73, something like that. Yeah. Till this day, I'd be like, "Yo, I wrote Tiny Dancer." Like, like
it's enough of a classic song that like people aren't forgetting about it.
No. Yeah, I'd be on like
Benny and the Jets. So you're like, okay, I can ride that wave. But I feel like that's kind of one of the problems with some musicians is that they're we're gonna keep pushing their success, and then it's like at the end, maybe you shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I don't remember the last good Britney Spears.
That's true.
Project.
Yeah.
Like, not that I'm a huge Britney Spears person or anything. Maybe there's people that are diehard fans and they would still like her today, but like, I don't know, like her first couple albums were probably like her most popular, and then could have wrapped it up then. Yeah. It's fine to retire if you have the means to do it.
Madonna, retire. Yeah. Madonna's definitely one. She just came out with an album this year. It's like, cut it out. What are you doing? Like, because now what you do is you tarnish your legacy. So now it's like, yeah, she's like a legend, but like, like you don't ever want to have like
still trying to be relevant, like for new things.
Exactly. You lose respect. And then also you don't want to have more bad albums than good albums. So she's tiptoeing that line, in my opinion. Madonna is. Britney, obviously she had her issues, so.
I feel like she's probably still a performer in Vegas or something.
She's really, wow. Thank you. What'd you say?
I said I feel like Britney Spears is still probably like performing in Vegas or something. I feel like that's one of the things that
she was. She had a residency there a while ago, but I follow her on Instagram, so.
So you know a little bit more.
Yeah, I know. I've been following a little closely. Wait. Wow. Thank you. I actually tweeted earlier today that I'm losing my battle with allergies. I'm struggling, but I'm gonna make it. I made it for the podcast. So I don't know if he was. I don't know if Taron, who was the actor for Elton, I don't know if he was the right pick for the role. I don't know. What'd you think about him?
I don't know either. I thought. I mean, like, obviously I didn't know Elton John back in the day. Like, I was only born in 1994, so I'm a little late to more with the Lion King stuff that he did. But, I don't know. I thought he was just, like, interesting. He just had a lot going on. This whole movie, I just felt like there's a lot going on. Which, I mean, obviously there was a lot going on in his life. Right. But I heard, too, online that, like, they were really putting a focus on his hair, and they had to like thin out his hair and make his hairline go
Oh,
back
really?
further. And I was like, that's kind of a lot of dedication, because like I understand people lose or gain weight for roles or get
Right.
work out a lot, or if they have to go in the other direction and gain a lot of weight,
Right.
they'll do that. But I was like, wow, like what if it didn't grow back? Like that would be a lot of dedication to this
I'd
one
be
role.
pissed.
Yeah.
I love my hair, so I would not be down for that. I think that for him to go through all that, like, for them to get an actor who they wanted to just use his voice. They didn't do any like sound mixing with Elton John's voice. They have to do all this like editing with or hair and makeup, like altering how he looks. He wasn't good enough for that. Like, he didn't look like Elton.
Yeah.
First of all, he didn't look like Elton John. Like, he didn't, like, the mannerisms were still like just very, like, I feel like, again, he's in Kingsman.
Yeah.
He was acting just like he did in Kingsman. Like, wasn't that much different. You know what I mean? Like,
So his acting style is like, doesn't matter which project he does, it's still pretty
yeah,
similar.
I don't know how great of that. Like, I'm like, how do you guys? I don't know how they picked him, other than him having a natural like English accent.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like, I mean, I could have been Elton in this movie. Like, if that was the case, like, I don't know, and I like him. I do like him.
But just
I don't know if he's a
his
good actor.
role.
It just was like, what did they just pick names out of a hat, and like it just didn't fit.
And I'm not too familiar with any like English actors. Like I don't know who their
Yeah.
alternative would be.
Yeah, I mean, they could have got Idris Elba. Like, I would have believed him as Elton before this guy. So, but his mother. So Elton John's mother actually died 2 years ago. I was wondering, like, did she see like the original cut of this before? Like, I don't know how when they finished the movie, when they wrapped it up, but like even the original, like, did he say to his mom like, hey, just let you know it's not that favorable and
Yeah.
free, you know what I mean?
Right, and you wonder if that's like really accurate or if it's how he portrayed it as.
Right.
But I thought all like the villains in this movie did a very good job at being like not likable at all.
Yeah, no,
like you
yeah.
did not like the mom, you did not like the dad, and then his like
His boyfriend
manager,
yeah.
like he was the worst, and you
Yeah,
could
he
see that coming from a mile away.
100%. Yeah,
So-
he had the suit, the dark hair. You knew he was. Gonna
And
be
he was
scary.
always like flirting with other people.
Yeah.
It was just like you could tell he was kind of like scummy and just trying to cash in on things.
100%. Yeah, they did a good job. I mean, the acting, like I said, as far as the main actor, he, I don't know how good of a performance he did, but everyone else I thought did a really good job acting.
Yeah.
Really believable, really sold it, really made you hate them.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about his addiction, and I couldn't imagine the pressure of, again, we were talking about like if I wrote Tiny Dancer, like I'm just chilling for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But like the pressure of continuing to come up with hits and hits, and as you become more and more famous and you continue to gather accolades,
Yeah.
I feel like that pressure would be too much.
Yeah.
So when you find these things, or even the thought of like, hey, I was really successful, but I was on like coke at the time. Like the thought process of like, wait, if I get sober, maybe I won't be as good. Like those are real thoughts, and I feel like that is something that like you naturally like associate some of that stuff with. So that would be a tough battle to fight, I imagine. So I mean, a lot of respect to him for now being sober 28 years, I think it said.
Yeah. It was a long time.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Lion King changed his life. Again, we need to see. I want to see that. Show him 2 hours in a booth creating the Lion King soundtrack. But yeah, that was good. I commend also his friend who wrote the songs, and it was almost like a brother to him. He said,
Bernie.
Yeah, awesome. That's all. People. You need people like that in your life, right? So whether it's an actual family member or a friend that becomes family.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he had too much like support from his family, so it was good probably that he had it coming from somewhere else. And I know they stressed the point that they've never had a fight in all the years that they've known each other, and they just went through that like brief period of time when they weren't not performing together, but working together. And I don't know, it was a feel good thing to see him like when he was in treatment, to have Bernie come see him.
And it's cool that that's like a real character,
Mm-hmm.
and when they showed them two in real life, like as friends, it's like that. That's cool to see. It would be rough for me, if I don't have a lot of patience sometimes with people who don't want to help themselves. like I'll try, and then like and especially if you like it turns into you like disrespecting me, like when he'd almost be like mean to Bernie,
right?
Like you can only I'm only letting you get away with that like a couple times. Before I'm just like, all right, I'm done with you, right? So I commend Bernie for sticking by him, being a good friend. He you could obviously he really loved him, really loves him. So that was awesome to see. So I feel like well I didn't know he had kids. I didn't know Elton John had. I mean obviously I think they adopted, but I didn't know he had kids. Do you know that?
My grandma used to always get People magazine, and I feel like that was like back when he had his kids. That was like one of the stories in it. So I feel like I read it in a little like news clipping in People magazine. I just never really thought much about it.
Yeah, I did not know that until it seems like
it's good he got everything cleaned up before he had kids.
Yes,
because they're pretty young.
Yeah, exactly. So so that he can.
And you wouldn't want them to like grow up in the same environment as he did. And it looked like his parents were both drinkers. Like, yeah. I think that they at least subtly tried to throw that in there. That his mom usually had a drink in her hand, and his dad did too. Yeah,
exactly. So I wonder how his relationship is with his like half brothers. I wonder that. I should look that up. Overall though, I thought the movie was kind of boring. Like, it was fantastically boring, and in a sense, I do have a newfound respect for singer-songwriters. Obviously, as amazing as Elton John is, he didn't write his own songs, right? So, I mean, I think you definitely have to, it's not to take anything away from him, but I think you do have to give a lot of respect to people who are writing their own songs and writing their own music, like playing instruments.
And it didn't seem like anyone writing his songs like Bernie, he didn't get like jealous that Elton was the one in the spotlight, and I feel like he's probably just the type of person where he's like, I don't want to be, front and center, but I like being involved with the project still, and like knowing I had a lot to do with it. And it didn't seem like Elton wasn't giving him credit for it, which is good. I feel like it probably is like a two-way street of like, if you feel like you're being appreciated, you don't mind 100%. Doing things.
100%. If you're being compensated and appreciated, like, what more can you ask for? Right. But I just felt like it was kind of boring. I felt like it didn't grab me as many as like the moments where it's like out of body experience or they did really eccentric things. The music, it didn't grab me. It was it's weird. I don't know if I've ever seen a movie that had so much going on that was boring. I've seen movies that have been not good. Some movies have a lot going on and they're not good, but it keeps you engaged, or you're at least like, whoa, what's gonna happen next? Wait, what?
Yeah.
This one was I didn't really care. It got to the point I didn't really care what happened next. It was just like, it was kind of boring at points.
I also feel like sometimes I just like watching movies at home because especially I kind of forgot that everyone would have accents in it. I really like subtitles.
Oh,
so
really?
when I watch things at home, I always have the subtitles
really?
on. Oh yeah. Like
who just told me that? Someone just told me that they watch with subtitles. That's funny. Yeah. So that must be a thing. I gave them a hard time when they told me, but
yeah. Like my parents will do it, my boyfriend does it, everybody we're like on the subtitles.
Oh wow.
So I don't know if it's just because like just people that you watch things with, like they get used to it. But I feel like sometimes I like to I have to see what they said in order for me to like understand it better. And I'm like, okay, and I think just with some of the accents, I was like, what did they say? Yeah. And going to the movies, it's just always so loud. I just love having some volume control.
Yeah. No, yeah, I get that. And certain movies don't necessarily need to be super loud. Like this didn't have to be loud. Right. Some movies, like I want it to be like, to get the full experience, like action movies. Like which are typically the most loud, but it's like it feels different. Like when you're in the theater and it's like an action movie. I was reviewing John Wick I think a week or two ago, and like hearing like the gunshot sounds and stuff like that adds to it. Like, it's a lot.
It's part of the experience.
Exactly. I didn't expect the movie to be so depressing. It was a way more low moments than there were highlights. Yeah. I didn't expect that going into it. It was a sad story. Like, obviously it's good to see him get clean and everything, but it was through and through. It was pretty sad. Yeah. And it makes you look and like, wow, he had all the way through, like his life has been pretty rough. Until I guess the last 28 years of sobriety, really. Right. It's looked as though his life for the majority of it has been pretty rough, even through his at his highest moments. So.
The one scene I liked when they were singing Your Song at his house right after him and Bernie moved in with his mom. Yes. And they played the whole song, and I just thought that was good. I don't think that they really had other people interrupt to sing it or anything, but I was like, I really like that song. So that was what I liked about it. Like
Yeah.
one of the things that I specifically could say, oh, I liked that, where like everything else was like, I feel like there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, not really knowing how to feel about some other things.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, finding that highlight in the movie. I do like the fact that the movie, I felt like, really embodied who he was or who he is, as far as just being like really eccentric and all over the place,
Yeah.
and him having his hand in some of the direction of the movie. I do like when movies do reflect the artist or the person that they're portraying, like the biographical film. So they definitely had that aspect going for them. Again, I don't know if his input helped the movie,
Right.
but it still was him. It felt like him.
One other thing, I know like a few months ago, I don't know if it was circling around on like Facebook or something,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was like either a Google commercial or some kind of commercial. I didn't realize it was like very similar to like a movie trailer for this. Like I thought it was like kind of saying, yeah, there's a movie coming out, but I didn't exactly think that it was gonna be like the movie.
Oh.
And it just felt like this movie was like a long drawn out version of this. I don't know if it was a Google commercial, but I'm feeling like it was.
Okay.
And I was just like, okay, I didn't think it would be like so closely related to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So the whole time I was like, what is this?
You're right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the direction of the film. I can only imagine what it was like on set. I think that they would have done better if the movie came out prior to his farewell tour. I think he either just wrapped up or is wrapping up his farewell tour. I think this would have been better if, one, it came out before, and then it was like, also guys, I'm announcing I'm going on a farewell tour, like after this movie.
Yeah.
So that would have been, I think, a smart play from a marketing standpoint. Two, I think that the movie would have been better suited as a documentary style, similar to This Is It, Michael Jackson's documentary, leading up to his final tour. So I think that if the movie would have been in that style, or like almost like a 5'2" Lady Gaga's documentary that's on Netflix that led up to her Super Bowl performance.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they did something like that, where they take a few months out, and as he's preparing for his final tour, going through everyday life, and then I think maybe you add in, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Birdman, but came out, it won an Oscar a couple years ago. It's really an odd movie, added some it's continuous shot.
Okay.
And there's like points where you don't know what's this guy's like real life and what's fiction. Like he'll be looking out of a window and then he'll step out the window and start flying, like stuff like that, similar to points that they kind of took in this movie. But I think if you had able to really capture like his personality, if you had a documentary style where you also incorporated, and if it was continuous shot, they want to do that, whatever, and where you have some moments where it's like he steps out of like real documentary style like life, and then you have some of these like fantastical like fictional moments.
Yeah.
That might have been a creative way to kind of step out of the box and be different, but then also give us like an insight that we want to see and what people will really be interested in. I would have much more preferred that. And then leading up to the farewell tour, he comes out and we see his like first concert and see like again all of his fans. Like that would have been a really cool moment. Maybe some like real like interview style type of stuff where he's going back and recounting some of his childhood and stuff.
Yeah, and since he is still alive and stuff, you had that luxury of if you
Yeah.
wanted to do it like that, you could have.
Exactly. So I've given out a ton of free $1 million, maybe $1 billion ideas on this podcast. So that's one. If you all want to redo this, I'd go see that. Like if you all end up literally next year say, yo, we came out with that, but like now we're coming out with this, I'd go see that. If you all do, just give me a shout out. Just put me on the credits. Appreciate that. Again, I don't like the creative liberties that we're taking on this. I think Elton John essentially told them to kind of have a field day with it and be creative. I think they might have abused that a bit.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the movie?
I think I'd just give it an even 5 because I just think I went in with higher expectations.
That's
and
fair,
I think it's just average. It wasn't anything super special. It wasn't anything horrible. I think 5 even would be a rating.
That's a fair rating. I gave it a 5.6. I gave it more love than it probably deserved. I mean, for everything I just said, but I think that if they don't look at it as this is a movie about Elton John, and you just made a movie, if they looked at it through that lens, they'd be like, I think they'd realize that we missed the mark, right? I think they were relying too heavily on the fact that it was about a you know, a huge figure in pop culture and the music industry, and they didn't really take the time to really make the film right.
Right.
And it's sad because it's an unnecessary film, meaning that it didn't have to be made. It's not like, if you're gonna do it right, do it perfect.
Yeah.
You know, or just scrap it. You know what I mean? Like don't mess it up, or let someone else do who's gonna do it right. You know what I mean? You want to tell the story right the first time. So it's rough that they didn't get it right. Would you suggest someone either go see this opening night, $5 Tuesday, Netflix, or don't watch it all?
If you're gonna go see it, then don't do anything other than $5 Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could just wait until it's on Netflix.
And that's what I had. I feel like Netflix is an appropriate viewing experience for this movie. You don't miss anything by waiting out. Again, if you're listening to this, or you check the website, you know, definitely look at the rating and say, I'll wait for Netflix on this one. What upcoming movies are you excited for, or movie, I should say?
I thought that during the trailers for this movie, they had one called Yesterday.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it was like
Yeah.
the Beatles one. I guess I'm just going on this music movie wave. But I was like, oh, that kind of looks like it could be a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
And so that's probably it.
I actually bashed that movie
Really?
trailer like a couple weeks ago. But it could be good. You know, I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see. I do like the Beatles a lot. I mentioned this movie before, but then saw a trailer doing this that got me even more excited for it. Men in Black. So they're doing they're bringing back Men in Black franchise, and I like it. I think Tessa Thompson and I always get the Hemsworths mixed up. I think that's Chris Hemsworth.
I think so, yeah.
But Thor, obviously they have chemistry from Thor in the Marvel movies, but and I love Tessa Thompson, but they it looks entertaining, right? Like, you know, again, it's not like movies like that, like it's not going to be an Oscar winner, but it looks funny, it looks entertaining, looks interesting a little bit, you know what I mean, for what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to go see it whenever. I can't remember what day or, you know, what month even it comes out, but I am excited about that. So that is all I had. I do appreciate you coming up. Did you have anything else, Becca?
No, that's all. Thanks for having me, Todd.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming up here. We will definitely have to connect more this summer now that it is warm out and I will be in Detroit. So
yeah, that sounds good.
Until next week, everyone, appreciate you all. Peace.